Whoa, whoa, whoa. Hey, everybody, how you doing? Welcome to another episode of Cast Revive. This is episode 54. This episode is going to be like... It's interesting to describe. This was given to us by a fan of the page, a guy named Matt Fenoff. He also runs Tiny Bronco Cosplay. So... look him up on Twitter and Facebook. Give him a follow. Has some pretty interesting cosplay ideas and stuff on his page. So check him out if you're a big fan of cosplay. And if not, do it because I said so. Yay! So he recommended this episode that we do like an idle menu theme, which basically will mean anything that you leave like a pause menu or an opening start screen, things like that. I thought that was really interesting because we've done like openers and closers and stuff like that. We've never done just like menu thing, which is pretty cool. So he's thinking login screens, start game screens, menus, anything you'd leave like pause menu, things like that. So it's gonna be kind of cool. And this opening track that I picked was from Time Splitters 2, which is the main menu theme waiting to start the game. And there's a lot of really, really good ones. It was really tough because I was trying to differentiate between, just having an opening theme or like the menu theme, and sometimes they're pretty different. So this was actually a really, really fun one to do. Some of these people will, I think everybody will probably know of these games and stuff like that, but there might be a few shockers on here for some people. For me, you never know. That's what this is all about, right? Well, about expanding our mind cavities and learning new stuff every episode, because that's what I like to do to you guys. So let's go ahead and I'm trying to think if there's anything to share before. Well, I have some cool, exciting news that I'll talk about when we get to the Save the Frames segment there at the end. I know you guys aren't here to hear me random on about random, stinky, useless stuff. So let's just go ahead and dive. Let's dive hardcore into our number 5. And this is a game that I think everybody knows. And if not, tell me why you've never played this game. If that doesn't get you pumped up, just want to kick some ass, I don't know what does. This is the the menu screen from Super Smash Bros. Brawl. And I don't think this was my first entry. This may have been my first entry into the Smash Brothers series. And I absolutely love Smash Brothers, like, with a passion. The roster, the super moves, the weapons, like all the items and stuff you can get are just the hours that I've spent playing this game, both, with friends and against computer, and, the story mode, and it has so many different options of things to play. And it's one of these games that you can just play casually and still have fun and be competitive, or you can go like the hardcore route, because like the esports competitive scene for Smash Brothers is freaking huge. I think, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think Melee is still the like big one, or did Brawl move on up? Because I know there are some Smash Brothers that aren't used in competitive. I thought Melee was one of the ones that was bigger. So if you don't know what Smash Brothers is, it's a fighting game. You can have up to, is it just 4 or is it 8 people? I don't remember. I know you can have it. It's basically you can have multiple people on the screen at the same time, and you can be Princess Peach, you can be Luigi, you can be Mario, you can be Bowser, you can be Ganondorf, Link, Kirby, Meta Knight, like all like the characters from like the Nintendo universe and beyond, and you can be Solid Snake, and I think it's this one you can be Solid Snake in it, and basically you're just fighting each other on sometimes these moving platforms. The boards are really, really detailed. It's really cool. Some boards that are stationary, some that move, that are those boards are freaking insane. Probably my favorite one is when you fight on the R-Wing, right, from Star Fox. That board is freaking awesome. And and if you play with like all items on, you have health stuff that drops, chili that makes you breathe fire, laser guns, bats, hammers, and you just have this plethora of items to use against each other, and it's so funny. especially when you do more than one. Like if you're not just doing one-on-one, because there's always that one person that will just hang back and watch while everybody's fighting, and then swooping at the end for the kills. And it's just you always have to be mindful of like, wait a minute, this person still has three lives left, because you can play by I forget what the name of it is, but you can start with like 3 lives, 4 lives, or 5 lives. I think it's stock. I think it's called. So the person that is last to survive is the winner. So, always, you have people just battling it out in the middle. Their stock is dropping. You have the one person just kind of chilling, like, all right, it's 3-1. I think it's time for me to come in now and kind of swoop in for the kill. It's so funny. And then you have the supers. And the supers are the best part of this game. Like, I won't play this game without supers, because it's just some of them are just so absolutely ridiculous. And if you don't know what they are, basically each character has their own special move. Kirby will summon like a pot in the middle, and everybody will be sucked into it, and he'll cook them and deal them damage, and then everybody shoots out, and all like these health potions and stuff will come out. Ganondorf will turn like this big behemoth and basically swipe and knock people off the screen. Samus has a massive laser that takes up like a half of the screen, so if you're caught in it, you're blown off. Same with Mario. What is it? Luigi, I think, puts everybody to sleep. I think that's what his is. So there are so many awesome ones out there. Jigglypuffs, Jigglypuff, basically just like expands, like becomes like almost the full screen. So you're trying to like stay on the screen. His body's like pushing you off. It's so funny. I want to play this game like right now. Like I freaking love Smash Brothers. It's so much fun to play in a room full of friends. And one of the reasons why I want to go to a GDQ, because they always have like a brawl room and stuff like that where people can just play, and I think that would just be absolutely hilarious. Absolutely hilarious. Number 5, Super Smash Brothers, and I love like this theme is just fantastic. I could just leave this on all day, and I have some, because I have the Smash Brothers soundtrack. So I mean, this is one of these themes that doesn't sound, it's not too redundant, like it's a long enough track in itself to where it's like, as you'll see for the last track I play, like for the outro, you'll see what I mean in terms of like, oh my god, this is mind-numbingly dull. I had to throw it in there. So I could literally do a whole episode on Smash Brothers, and I might, who knows? We'll see what goes on in the future. Smash Brothers and Kirby, best character. Best character, my favorite character. I was a Ganondorf huge fan for a while, but Kirby, you can't mess with him. Can't mess with him. So anyway, let's move on to my sexy number 4. Oh, baby, the memories. The memories. This is The Legend of Dragoon, an RPG for PlayStation 1. And I always tell this story when I talk about Legend of Dragoon, because when I first played the game, I played it in Sears. And back in the day when they would have like little kiosks set up where you could, like, oh, come check out the demo of, Final Fantasy VIII, play through Dullet, and, all this stuff. They had this similar thing for Legend of Dragoon. And it was, I believe it was just after you escaped Helena Prison, right in the beginning, and you were running from the guards and stuff like that. I'm pretty sure that was what the demo was. So I was playing it, and I was just like, this game's amazing. Because at that point, I really only had dabbled in Final Fantasy. So I was just like, this game's like Final Fantasy. Oh my god, there's other games out there like this? Like, I was just blown away. And so I went ahead and, purchased it. And at that summer, I went to go stay with my grandmother up in Philadelphia. I was living in Florida, where I am right now, but at the time. And I was in her basement. Yes, I know, a gamer in a basement. What a surprise, right? Jeez, people are so mean. And I played the game literally nonstop. I mean, I beat the game in 2 days. I don't think I ever. I was most proud and most sad at the same time, because I literally, I mean, I could not stop, and I didn't even want to turn the game off. So when I went to bed, I literally just put it on the menu and just I fell asleep to this music, and someone would be like, "This isn't like the most entertaining, like menu music," but for me, it holds so many memories of when I first played this game and just sat. It was also the first time I ever had salt and vinegar chips. So I went to the supermarket by my grandmother's house. I got like 4 bags of salt and vinegar chips. I got some sodas. I just went in the basement and I was determined to just destroy this game, and I did. And if you haven't played Legend of Dragoon is one of these very underrated RPGs. I think it's starting to get a little more popularity now. I've noticed some people in the speedrunning community starting to pick it up, but it's too long of a speedrun for me to get into. I think it's like 14 hours or something like that, and that's just a little too a little too much for me. But it's an amazing story. It's got unbelievable music. I mean, if you don't like this track, don't let that deter you from checking it out, because it's got some of the best gameplay. And the thing that I really liked about the gameplay in terms of both its magic and attacking is when you threw your magic out, you had to spam one of the buttons on the controller to help build up the damage that it was. So it wasn't like, in 7 or 8, I'm going to cast ice and it just does, a randomized amount of damage. In this game, you really had to be like a button masher to really get up to, I think it was 250% you can increase the damage by. So if you didn't have one of those turbo controllers, you're, just really, really spamming hard on the controller. And when you got up there, you're like, yes, like it's, you would hit so hard with it. And with the attacks, everybody had their own like combo style attacks. So when you go to attacks, when you had this little box that would kind of like zoom in, and as soon as it got to a certain point, you'd have like a white. The box would fill in white, and that's where you would have to hit the button to attack and stuff like that. But there'd be some combos that would be like 6-7 hits long, and based on you would gain these things called, I think it was SP, which would build up to allow you to use, magic and stuff like that. So having to get these higher things unlocked, it was all about timing. It was so heavily involved with timing. And it took me forever to learn this one called Gust of Wind Dance that this character named Lavitz uses, and when it was done, it was like Gust of Wind Dance. Like the voice acting for this game was absolutely hilarious, and it's just so worth playing. So worth playing. Best character in the game, Meru. She's absolutely amazing. Just an upbeat, peppy girl who has water magic. So anybody who knows me, and if you don't know me, now you know that I'm obsessed with anything water-based, especially in RPG, just games in general. If it's some kind of water caster or user, I'm usually all about it. Usually, there are some occasions where I'm not, but I think that's pretty rare. Legend of Dragoon. They need to make. I know it's never ever going to happen. But if they made a sequel or a prequel to this game, I would lose my mind. I would literally lose my mind. And I think a lot of people would too. I've signed probably 2 or 3 different petitions for Sony Entertainment to go ahead and make another one. Because it's definitely basically I look at this game like Tim Burton's A Nightmare Before Christmas. When it came out, it was just like, this isn't doing anything. Like it wasn't like groundbreaking. It wasn't like, even though I thought Nightmare Before Christmas was, because the movie's freaking amazing. But like over time, it just gained that cult following and became super popular. And I think that's the way that Dragoon is going, especially not so much in just the speedrunning, but I mean it's getting more attention, and people are starting to see it more for what it is, which is just such an amazing game on its own right, and in the sea of Final Fantasy games, where a majority of people compare RPGs to, just in my experience, it stands up there. It stands up there. I mean, this is my favorite RPG of all time. Super close to Final Fantasy VII. I mean, they're probably like a hair apart. I always go back and forth. But I have so many strong memories with Legend of Dragoon, and just introducing more people to this game, because I wasn't the first one, and back in high school and stuff to get into 7. I saw it through a buddy of mine playing it. But like Dragoon, I was like, I got Dragoon. You got to check this game out. This game is freaking amazing. And everybody else was like, this game is so awesome. And it just, you get so pumped when you introduce friends to a new RPG and they like it. You're ready to talk about the story, theories, builds, and all that kind of stuff. So Legend of Dragoon, freaking amazing. Check it out. Sony PS1. Absolutely amazing. You can get it on the PlayStation Store. I have 2 copies, Greatest Hits and Normal, in box on my game shelf because what up, you know? Yeah. Let's move into number 3, because number 3 I'm probably going to talk about for a while, too. I wonder how this is going to be a longer episode. Who knows? Just listen and enjoy. Okay, it's decided. After I'm done recording, I'm reactivating my Final Fantasy XI account because this game is amazing. Final Fantasy XI. Just listen to that. Talk about like memory, like just emotional memory being thrown at my face like rock solid ice balloons. Like it's it's insane. Final Fantasy XI is an MMO, an online role-playing game, somewhere like World of Warcraft, stuff like that. If you don't know what that is, the latest version of an MMO is Final Fantasy XIV that's currently out, and I love 14. Don't get me wrong, 14 is an absolute masterpiece. But in my opinion, it can't touch the social aspect that Final Fantasy XI brought. I came over to 11 from my favorite MMO of all time called the Dark Ages of Camelot, and those games really showed what MMOs need to be, focusing on community and grouping. And so in 11. Yes, you could solo, but the game was built around finding parties and getting together and spending hours together in a camp, killing enemies and just building these bonds and friendships. And I feel that is so important because, you know, I played EverQuest, I played Dark Ages, I played Final Fantasy XI, and without that community, the willingness to work together and to spend time together, it's just like It's so important. To me, it is so important because if I want to play a single player game by myself, I'm not going to pay monthly for that. I have thousands of games to play that are single player. If I'm playing an MMO, an online role playing game that I can play with people around the world, I want to play with people, and I want to build relationships and just forge memories because that's what these games are. There's enough drama in the real world. I don't want to deal with it in a game, and I just want to shut my brain off, focus on what I'm doing in this fictional world, and just have an amazing time. And that's what 11 really brought out for me. The other games did, obviously. Those are between EverQuest and Dark Age of Camelot. But being a big Final Fantasy fan, getting to play as these classes as you've played about in other games and really get to forge and make it your own was just an entirely different experience. Music is flawless, absolutely flawless. I mean, this game has probably one of, I don't want to say the best, but it's close in terms of an MMO music. I mean, there are so many memorable tracks from this game, and so if you don't know what this game is, you could start. You start out. You pick a class and stuff like that. Excuse me. And my best guy was a dancer thief and a dancer ninja, and I'm waiting for 14 to bring out a dancer. If they did, then my life would just be over because The Dancer was a melee class that could heal, and it was perfect. Every time you hit, you could build up your TB, your tactical points, whatever, and you could spend that to heal your party, increase attack speed. Like there's so many things that you could do with this character, and by Brian and I, who Brian was on the show, and we had an unbelievable combo. He had a Dark Knight, and I had a Dancer, and he was just the tanking melee powerhouse, and I was the melee healer. And I would just build up on accuracy gear. That way I wouldn't miss. I wasn't worried about doing that much damage. I just needed to make sure I hit, because if I didn't hit, I didn't gain those points, and I couldn't heal. So obviously accuracy was a very important build for me. And if I was soloing, or if we were taking on stuff that was a little bit harder and I was pulling, threat and stuff like that, I went Rogue Ninja, because you could put on these copies of yourself that basically negated a hit. So I could do that and just kind of, keep throwing them on myself, so they would keep missing until he got threat, and then boom, go back to meleeing and stuff like that. So it's an amazing game. Beastmaster, Blue Mage, the game to do Blue Mage absolutely perfectly. Absolutely perfectly. Basically, you had to go out in the world and fight these monsters to learn their abilities the way a Blue Mage should be. It wasn't like, congratulations, you leveled up, you now have access to Bee Sting. It's just like, but how did I learn that? You had to go and earn it, and you might fight 100 bees before they did an ability. I mean, it was a grind, but when you got it, man, it was just an unbelievable feeling and everything like that, to go ahead and love this game. I remember, so as I said, Brian was the one that I played this game with the most, and we had this one guy, I think it was in our guild or something like that at the time, in our link shell, and we were going to go unlock some of our classes. I think it was Corsair, don't even get me started on how amazing Corsair was. That's when we were trying to unlock Blue Mage, Corsair, and stuff like that. He was going to show us kind of like where to go and get through it. So, and at that time, you didn't have, the maps and everything like the walkthroughs, like you have now. So I had to go online, and as limited as it was back then, but find these very crudely detailed maps of like these areas, and basically we just had to find our way through it. So I still have the binders that I made to help get us through that. So I would be like, okay, we're here, I think. So if you go up here, make a right, and we navigated ourselves through these difficult areas. We were not the level, we needed more people to get through this. So there are certain mobs that responded to sound and smell and stuff like that. So you had to get we had to buy these potions that basically negated that stuff, so we could walk through these really dangerous areas to be able to talk to these people to get these items I needed for our quests. And I still remember we were so happy when we did that. We did this ourselves, no help. We figured out, I printed out all the stuff, made this own guide, and it was fun. It was so much fun, and I really I wouldn't mind checking out again. The problem is now is I've been spoiled, whether that's not necessarily the best thing when you have all these memories associated with these old games, because now, I'm used to WoW leveling. I'm used to, Final Fantasy 14 leveling, where I can do stuff by myself. I'm a father, I stream, I do this podcast, so I don't have the time that I need to devote to Final Fantasy 11, and when I mean devote time, if I was in town and someone is in Valkyrie Dunes, one of the earlier areas of the game, and hey, we're looking for this character to come in, this type of class, oh yeah, I'll be there, and I would have to run all the way there, and that might take me 45 minutes to get there, just to get there. And then by the time I do, sometimes you get to all right, finally I joined up in the party, and everybody's like, all right, 2 more pulls and I'm leaving. You got to be kidding me. I just ran all this way for 2 pulls, and the group would disband and you would just lose it. So you'd want to try to find these static parties that you would level with all the time, so you never have to worry about people just abandoning and bailing. But that's why Brian and I, it worked out really well with our duo, because we could handle pretty much anything 3, 4 levels above us, stuff like that. Like we could do really, really well, as long as I was able to land these attacks, and he just did ridiculous amounts of damage. So it was a great time. A lot of really, really amazing memories. The summoner, you had summons that actually looked like what they were supposed to be. Unlike 14. 14, I love you, but pull your head out of your ass and fix the summoner. None of these EGs or EGs, whatever the hell you call them, give him the actual summons that look like summons. Please. Like, when I first saw a summoner run by with Ifrit and like Titan running behind him, I was like, what the hell is that? Like, the thing is like 4 times the size of the character, but it looked like the summon itself. And getting those actual summons were ridiculously difficult. You needed groups to go in and help you fight these summons to gain. Like, I never had a summoner, so this is just through like research and looking at other people, but I'm pretty sure it was very similar to like Final Fantasy VIII, where you had to fight them and gain like their respect. You know, how you wouldn't just be like, all right, you know, like in 7, oh, hey, I'm getting ready to do chocobo racing. Here's Rama laying on the ground just in plain sight. Like the Lord, like the God Rama, the lightning Rama, just laying there in the corner, like next to a trash can. Like, I'll pick that up and use it. Sweet. Like, what the hell's going on here? But like in 8, you actually had to fight. In the first one, you go and you fight Ifrit. He's like, all right, you're strong. I'm gonna help you out and join you. Like, just earning the respect of them. I like that, and I'm almost positive that's what you had to do with 11. Correct me if I'm wrong. If you played 11, if you did play 11, what was your class? What did you enjoy about the game? What are your memories of Final Fantasy 7? I could literally do a whole episode on 11, and I think I may have. I don't remember because I've been doing this podcast 54 episodes, and I don't remember exactly every single one that I've done. So, okay, I could literally go on and on and on. Final Fantasy 11. If you haven't played it, check it out. I know a couple people. Guy from my community was checking it out, so I don't know if he still is or not, but if he is, hats off to you, sir. Good buddy John. All right, so that's it for Final Fantasy 11. Wow, number 2 already. Let's move into our number 2. I think you guys are going to agree with me on this one. Oh, that track doesn't just kick you right in your face. By far. Oh, I'm just going to shut up for a minute. You can't fuck with the melody in this track. I'm sorry, I use profanity. I don't care. This track is awesome. Mega Man 3 for the NES. This track to start a game like this is just like on like a whole new level. A whole new level. Oh man. I freaking love this track. So you know, blow on the cartridge, put it in, hit that power button. You get the small loading screen in the beginning, and all of a sudden, game starter password. So you're just waiting at the menu screen at the beginning, and this track just plays, and you don't even have to play the game. Don't even have to. You just listen to this track and just say, this is freaking Mega Man. This is Mega Man. Oh. There aren't words. And if you can't tell, I was a huge fan of video game music. Like, I'm one of the people that, like, I get such a strong emotional reaction to video game music. Like, you hear it, and you're just like, my head just, like, melts. Like, this is one of the tracks. It gets me so pumped up. And so Mega Man 3, this game is freaking awesome. And the cool thing about this game is, you know, Mega Man 1 and Mega Man 2, you're fighting against Dr. Wily. It's like, oh, this guy's a jerk. I'm going to cut his head off and make my own robot. But in this one, Dr. Wily claims he's reformed. So he's like, I'm going to begin working with Dr. Light, and we're going to make peace on the planet and all this stuff. So ultimately, that obviously goes bad. Ultimately, Wily turns out to be a complete pile of garbage once again, and you have to go ahead and fight against Wily. You know, so you're fighting against what is it? Oh yeah, so the robot masters that were made they're in charge of like these different worlds, like gaining supplies and all this kind of stuff. But they go basically nuts, and Mega Man is called into action to once again stop all of these robots from happening. And you get an appearance of Breakman at the end. Spoilers! If you haven't played Mega Man 3 yet, spoilers. You had enough time. This game came out in 1990, I believe. 91, something like that. So you've had a long time to play the game. So, but it turns out that later on, Dr. Light informs him that you were actually rescued by Proto Man, and Proto Man is Mega Man's like older brother. So he's like, "Whoa, what's going on here? Like, this is freaking cool." Oh my goodness! This game also has, I don't know if it's voted, but it's ranked up, and probably the top 3 of Mega Man tracks is it's got Snake Man's theme. And if you haven't heard Snake Man's theme, I'm just gonna break protocol here for a sec. Just listen. Hang on here. Snake Man theme. Just listen to this for a second. Mega Man tracks are known for just no, I've had enough of you, Snake Man. I got to go back to title theme because there it is. It's gorgeous. Like Mega Man tracks are always known for being like very technical, having a lot of stuff going on. It's not just like a standard beep boop beat like that thing. Like it really like it's insane. It's insane. They're technical. The games are hard. So the music is just, everything is so upbeat because you're constantly just running with Mega Man. There's not really a time where you're just kind of standing still. So you just, all these themes are just kind of like a horse gallop going, So it gets you that sense that I'm going to keep moving forward and stuff like that. And it's so brilliantly done, and all the Mega Man games just have phenomenal music. But when you're waiting to press start, there's no better one than Mega Man 3. I mean, it's an unbelievable experience. I think a lot of people will probably agree with me on that. I know I've heard some people say Mega Man 4s. I did some, I obviously did some research. I go on forums. I pick people's brains. Because these aren't just. I mean, these are my choices. But I like to kind of see what I'm getting into before I go in. Before I start getting some hate mail and stuff like that. Like, oh my God, these top 5s are just so garbage. This guy doesn't know what he's talking about. I think Mega Man X12 is by far the best. There's no Mega Man X12, nerd. God. Coughing for the win. So I go in different forms of people, and I've seen a couple. I think there was 1 or 2 Mega Man 5s. So it's amazing to see people's personal preference and kind of why they choose. And I think it just has a lot to do with the memories associated with those games. Has nothing to do with the fact that they think Mega Man 5 is a better game per se, but it's just like Mega Man 5 may have been their first introduction to the Mega Man series. So for them, that holds so many more, it's so much stronger for them than any of the other Mega Man games. So I mean, and that's what makes this stuff great. Is like nobody with the top 5s, there's no right or wrong answer. Everybody else's top 5 would differ probably so much from mine, except the next one that I'm going to play. I think should be everybody's number 1 because in terms of emotional reaction, this will make me cry like a newborn child. So, Mega Man 3, check it out. It's freaking amazing. I'm sure majority of you have played Mega Man 3. If not, just pop it in, hit the power button, and just listen to the screen for about 4 hours, and then you can say I beat Mega Man 3 because you absorbed everything that is being thrown at you through this track. It's gorgeous, and I love each and every one of you. Let's move into my number 1 because I'm going to play this for a minute because I need to go buy some tissues because I'm an absolute giant wuss, and this song makes me cry like a child every time. Martin O'Donnell, you magnificent bastard. This track, I know there are a lot of people out there who don't enjoy the Halo series, but you can't deny the power of this track. I mean, that whole beginning right there, it's so space oriented. I mean, the echoes, the haunting, the chants and stuff going on, like you just feel like you're in space. And Halo was the first FPS that I played on the original Xbox, and one of my favorite FPS. You know, I haven't played the last two games. Like I'm not a huge, not to say I'm not a huge fan of the Halo series. Like I enjoy the Halo series, but I like Halo more for its music. You know, and when I first heard this track, when I first started playing the game, I just knew that this is unbelievable. Like this is literally one of the best things I've ever heard in my life, and this is why this is my number one. Before you start a game, you know, you're like, all right, I'm gonna get ready to start a game. I put it in, hit the power button. I'm gonna get a drink, get a snack, and then this plays, and you just kind of sit down and just take a moment to just appreciate the power of music. I got something in my eye. So yeah, so this it's unbelievable. It's unbelievable. I played the amount of hours I played in Halo multiplayer. Talk about a game that you're going to lose friends over. I mean, you got, you know, between Mario Kart, Mario Party, you know, all these other games, but man, playing Halo split screen, you know, and it's just every time you get killed, you're screaming at your buddy, just like, you're a screen watcher, you know. You have to get those boards and like set it up in the middle of your TV so that way nobody can look up or down, so you can actually play legit. Back in the day before everybody had their own separate, had their own separate monitors and stuff like that. It's a great time. My favorite weapon was the one with the spikes, the spines that you shot out of it, and they would seek and attach to them and blow up. Just an amazing time, an amazing game, and like I said, I know there are people out there who don't enjoy the sci-fi shooters, and which is fine. I mean, everybody has their own opinion, but I don't think anybody can say that this track sucks. Like I don't see how, if you're a fan of music and game music in general, that this track just doesn't do anything for you, you know. I know Lindsey Sterling. I think if you know what Lindsey Sterling is, she's a very popular violinist and who does like video game covers and things like that amongst her own original content. I think she did this one with somebody else, and it's unbelievable. It's unbelievable. The power of music, ladies and gentlemen. And a lot of people, you know, I keep saying a lot of people. That's not true. But I mean, like, people think of music, they don't think like, oh man, I'm gonna go listen to like video game music. Like it's just, you know, old Nintendo, old Mario things. I want to listen to that. But like you have to understand it for what it is. Like play that track for somebody who's never really listened to video game music, and they'll probably be like, what movie is that from? Like you know, that sounds really cool. Like that's from a video game, dude. Like that's not from a movie. And they'd be like, whoa, like that just completely changed my world. You know, if video games can put out this quality, and this isn't a long time ago. This is the original Halo on the original Xbox. This isn't like something that came out last year. You know, like just the power of it being able to be introduced, you know, back then. It's unbelievable, unbelievable. So I'm gonna let this play while I move into our next segment. I hope you enjoyed my top 5: Smash Brothers, Legend of Dragoon, Final Fantasy 11, Mega Man 3, and then Halo for our idle menu, pause, start screen kind of mashup that we did today. So big thanks to Matt Fanoff for that suggestion. He's a cosplayer. Check him out, Tiny Bronco Cosplay. Let's move on and save those frames real quick. So I said I had an announcement earlier. So I am happy to announce that I am the current world record holder in Motocross Maniacs for the Game Boy. Doesn't have the largest community. There was only one person ahead of me, but I was able to steal that world record from them. So I am an official world record holder. It was approved, and it's on speedrun.com. If you look up Matty J311, you can go ahead and see my first place world record on there. Very happy to announce that. That was, you know, I've been a big fan of speedrunning for a long, 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 long time, and I've always wanted to get into it. So I started with a game that I spent hours playing when I was growing up, and that was Motocross Maniacs on the old brick black and white Game Boy. When you're driving in the car at night, and you have the little street lights, passing by every like 30, 40 feet. So you're like, oh, I can go forward there. I can go forward there. So you just back before you had the light that you could install on it. And so I was like, you know what? It's not a big community, but it's a good entry level game for me that I know. And I can kind of, and I still can save a lot of time. I've made mistakes. Like I said, go to speedrun.com, look up MannyJ311 or even Motocross Maniacs, and you can see the video. It's attached to it. And you can see I made quite a number of mistakes. So there's easily a minute to be saved in this. But I'm hoping that, this will get more people into the speedrunning community. If you want to check out that game or are interested in getting into it, give it a run. Love to have more people in there. It's definitely a kind of game where you can get really competitive in, because there's a lot of interesting routes and things that you can do to really optimize this game. So that being said, with me having that, I'm moving into Quackshot on the Sega Genesis. I actually did a stream the other day and yesterday, mind you, and it was a lot of fun. So I got to go through the game. I worked on some not some glitches, but some skips, and I was able to get the South Pole skip in the second one, because usually you have to go around. There's an area you can use bubbles to break these ice blocks, and you have to go around to get it, and then use that area to go out. But if you angle yourself right, you can actually squeeze in a bubble there to break it, to basically skip that part of the level. So it was a pretty cool deal that I was able to get that. It took quite a while to get, but now that I know kind of what I have to do, my next run through, I'll be able to do a full speed run. Yesterday was just all about tech and learning and stuff like that, so I didn't have any splits going. I had to really de-rust and refamiliarize myself with the game, but a lot of fun. Quackshot, Sega Genesis, that's got a decent community. I think it's got 18 or 19 people running it. So Tenebrae, if you're listening, I'm coming for your world record, buddy. So yeah. So that's it. That's what's going on for Save the Frames. World record of Motocross Maniacs, and now I'm moving into Quackshot and the Sega Genesis. So it's speedrunning is amazing. It's absolutely amazing, and I'm happy to be a part of such a positive, for the most part positive and giving community. As with any community, there's always a negative side to it when you have a lot of people getting together, but there is a lot of good money for charity. Our majority of the communities are willing to help you learn and grow, because they want their games to grow. They don't want them to die. Some of these people spend years perfecting their game less than they want it to be. Oh, nobody else is running this, so now it's kind of pointless. So they want to bring new people in who want to help grow the game and are just positive players. So overall, just a great overall community to be a part of. So thank you guys so much for listening. I really appreciate that. Just so you know, we have Cast Revive has a Patreon page now, which will be linked below this episode. So if you're looking at, if you want to support us monetarily, you can. It'll be per episode. There's different tiers that you get different perks for it. So go ahead and sign up if you want. These episodes will always be 100% free. You never have to pay a dime. But some people were asking if there's a way, or if there was a way that they could support with some cash if they wanted to, and obviously money helps us increase the equipment and to be able to do more of these episodes for you, things like that. So if that's something you're interested in, go ahead and click that Patreon link. You can learn more, and appreciate your support. Whether you support monetarily or just by listening, if go ahead and share this out, blast it on Twitter or Facebook. A big help would be to write reviews on iTunes if you haven't already, because the more reviews we get on iTunes, the bigger reach we will get, and the higher we'll get in their rankings for more people to find us, and to be able to do more really awesome episodes. Again, these episodes I want to do based on your suggestions, and I have so many. I mean, you guys have been throwing them at me like crazy, so I'm going to be breaking. And the thing is, some of the new people coming in, some of the suggestions you've given, or episodes we've already done, so I might be retweaking them to do more updated kind of versions of those. But please keep the ideas coming. You guys are freaking amazing. And again, be sure to follow me on Twitch, MannyJ311. Be sure to subscribe to this podcast on Shout Engine, and be sure to share the podcast. We're also on Facebook. Look us up, Cast Revive, and we're also on Twitter, Cast Revive as well. So I promise you guys a mind-numbing track that I'm going to leave you with. So what a way to end it. So this theme, a lot of people will be familiar with. It's just a theme that is so redundant that there's actually a 10-hour YouTube video of this theme. I was like, I don't know who could listen to this for 10 hours without going absolutely insane. So I'm going to leave you with the pause menu from the NES game Battletoads. So get ready for some drums and some claps and all that kind of stuff. But thank you guys again for listening. I hope you all have a wonderful day and even better weekend, and we'll see you next week, my friends.